parents called me loser and laughed at me, while I sent them money for their bills, and when I found out, I stopped sending money, and a month later at the family dinner. I always knew I wasn't their favorite. It was clear by the time I was 10. My older brother, Mike, was the star athlete, the golden child who could do no wrong. My sister, Emily, was the academic genius, always bringing home straight A's and scholarships. Then there was me. I wasn't bad at anything, but I wasn't exceptional. I didn't stand out. To them, I was just there. Still, I tried. I worked hard in school, picked up odd jobs in high school to help with expenses, and kept my head down. Even after I graduated, I never asked them for anything. I didn't have the luxury of exploring my passions or taking risks like my siblings. I worked to survive. When they called me a few years ago and asked for help with the bills, I didn't hesitate. Even though I was barely scraping by, I sent them money every month. "It's just until we get back on our feet," they had said. I believed them. I had to. It was hard. I worked long hours at a job I didn't love, budgeted every penny, skipped things for myself so I could send what they needed. I thought I was doing the right thing, proving I wasn't the failure they always said I was. I wanted them to be proud of me for once. Then, one afternoon, everything changed. I stopped by their house unannounced to drop off some groceries I'd picked up for them. As I approached the door, I heard laughter. It was loud, familiar, and unmistakably mine. "Can you believe he still hasn't found anyone? How long does he think he can put this off? What's he waiting for, 30 years? My father joked. "He's probably afraid no one will want him," Mike chimed in. "Why would they?" Emily added, laughing. "He's always so serious about his career, but look at him. He's barely getting by. It's hilarious." I stood frozen on the porch as my mother spoke next. "Well, at least he's good for one thing. He pays our bills. Can you imagine how desperate he must be to send us money? What a loser." The laughter grew louder. I didn't even feel myself open the door, but there I was, standing in the foyer. Their laughter stopped immediately. "What's so funny?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. The room fell silent when they saw me. My mom's face froze in mid-laugh, my dad sat up straighter, and Mike and Emily exchanged quick, uncomfortable glances. No one said anything at first. "What's so funny?" I asked again, staring straight at my mom. She tried to smile, but it was forced. "Oh, honey, it's nothing. We were just joking around. You know how we are." Mike chuckled. "Yeah, lighten up, man. It's not that deep." "Not that deep?" I repeated. "You're sitting here laughing at me. About how I struggle, about how I help you pay your bills, and you think that's funny?" My mother's smile disappeared completely, and she waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, come on. Don't take it so personally. You know we appreciate what you do." Emily rolled her eyes. "Seriously, you're turning this into a thing. We haven't even talked about you that way." I looked at them all, standing there as casually as if none of it mattered. The years of sacrifices I'd made for them, the nights I'd stayed up figuring out how to stretch my paycheck, the things I'd given up so I could send them money, they laughed at it all. "They appreciate it?" I said, my voice steady. "Is that why you called me a loser? Is that why you said I was desperate to send money?" My dad leaned back in his chair and crossed his arms. "We were joking. Don't act like you're a saint. You're our kid. It's normal to help out your parents. Mike and Emily helped out too, but you don't see them throwing it in our faces." That hit me like a ton of bricks. "They helped out?" I said, looking between Mike and Emily. Emily shrugged and smiled. "Yeah, we helped out. Here and there." "Here and there?" I repeated. "I've been paying your rent, your utilities, everything for years. But sure, tell me more about how they helped out. What did they do? Buy groceries once?" Mike rolled his eyes. "You're so dramatic. You think you're the only one who does anything? Please. If you're so bitter about helping, why didn't you just say no?" That was when I realized they didn't care. Not one bit. They didn't appreciate me. They didn't feel bad about what they said. To them, I wasn't family, I was a convenient ATM. I took a deep breath. You're right. I should have said no. My mother perked up. Good, so let's stop this little pity party and move on. Dinner's almost ready. No, I said. I mean, I should have said no years ago. And I'm saying it now. You're on your own from here. All four of them froze. My dad narrowed his eyes. What does that mean? It means I'm done, I said simply. No more money. No more help. Nothing. My mother scoffed. You're being ridiculous. You can't just stop helping. We've depended on that money. I know, I said. That's why you're laughing, isn't it? Because you knew I'd never stop, no matter how much you disrespected me. Mike stood up and grabbed his keys. Whatever, man. This is boring. I got things to do. Emily followed him. Yeah, same. Enjoy your little tantrum. They both left without another word, leaving me alone with my parents. Don't be like this, my mom said after a moment. We're your family. Families help each other. You'll regret this. I looked at her, then at my father. No, I won't. Have a good night. And then I walked out, ignoring their shouts behind me. For the first time in years, I didn't send them any money when the month came around. I thought I'd feel guilty, but instead I felt relieved. It was as if I'd finally lifted a heavy burden I'd been carrying for no reason. I ignored the first few phone calls from my mother. Then came the texts. Hey, did you forget to send the money? We're behind on the bills. Can you send it today? Is everything okay? Why aren't you replying? I didn't answer any of them. I wasn't interested in explaining myself or getting dragged into another guilt trip. But then my dad started calling. He wasn't the type to text much, so when he called, I answered, curious to hear what he had to say. What's up with you? He asked. No hello, no pleasantries. I'm busy, I replied. You didn't send the money, he said, as if I had forgotten to pay a parking ticket. I know, I said calmly. There was a long pause. What does that mean? You've always sent it on time. Your mother and I count on it. You know that. Not anymore, I said. Are you serious? He asked, his voice rising. You can't just stop. Do you know how far behind we'll be? Why are you doing this to us? Because I'm tired of being treated like garbage, I said bluntly. If I'm such a loser, then stop expecting me to take care of everything. He was silent for a moment, then said, We need to talk about this. Your mother wants to have a family dinner tomorrow. You're coming. I wanted to tell him no, but something in me was curious. Maybe they would realize how wrong they'd been. Maybe they'd apologize, or at least try to explain themselves. Against my better judgment, I said yes. The next day, I went to their house for dinner, and the atmosphere was tense. Mike and Emily weren't there, which wasn't surprising. They never stayed for anything that wasn't about them. My mom had made lasagna, her go-to for family dinners, but no one looked hungry. My father sat at the head of the table, arms folded, while my mother played with her fork. I took a seat across from them and waited. So, my mom began. We wanted to talk about this money situation. There's nothing to talk about, I said. I'm not sending any more. Don't be stubborn, my father said. We are your parents. You owe us respect and support. I don't owe you anything, I said. My mother's expression hardened. That's not how families work. You're supposed to help. We've done so much for you. I raised an eyebrow. Like what? She blinked. We raised you. And? I said. That's the bare minimum of being a parent. You'd get no reward for doing what you're supposed to do. My father slammed his hand down on the table. Watch your tone. You're acting like a spoiled brat. You think you're punishing us by withholding money? You're just proving what a selfish mistake you are. That hit me, but not in the way he intended. Instead of anger or sadness, I felt clarity. I laughed. A quiet, calm laugh. A mistake, huh? Well, if that's who I am, I'll make it easy for you. I'll stay out of your lives from now on. Don't call me, don't text me, don't expect anything from me. My mother's eyes widened. You can't mean that. We're your family. No, I said, standing up. A family doesn't treat one member like an ATM while laughing at them behind their back. You've made it clear how you feel about me, and now I'm returning the favor. My father pointed a finger at me. If you walk out that door, don't come back. I nodded. Good. That's the plan. I walked out without another word, leaving them stunned. Walking out of that dinner felt final, but I didn't expect the fallout to come so quickly. By the time I got home, my phone was flooded with missed calls and messages from my mother. Each one more desperate than the last. Come back and talk to us. We didn't mean what we said. You're blowing this out of proportion. I didn't answer. A few days later, Mike texted me. Mike, you're really making a scene over nothing. Mom and Dad are pissed. Me. Not my problem. Mike, you're acting like a child. Grow up. I ignored him too. The silence wasn't easy at first. Breaking it off felt unnatural, like an instinct I'd been conditioned to follow was suddenly gone. For years I'd believed that family came first, no matter what. But what they called family, I now saw for what it was: manipulation masquerading as loyalty. A week later, I received another call from my mother. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Hi, she said quickly, her tone lighter than I had expected. We just wanted to let you know that we figured everything out. Mike and Emily are going to help with the bills now, so don't worry about us. I felt a strange mixture of relief and bitterness. Good, I said. But, she added, and I knew the catch was coming. We were hoping you could at least send us a little something to tide us over until they get everything sorted. You know, just for this month. I almost laughed. Are you serious? After everything, you're still asking me for money? Don't be like that, she said. You're the only one we can count on. No, I'm not, I said. Figure it out without me. She started to say something, but I hung up. 2 weeks went by with no contact, and I was starting to feel like I was finally free. Then, out of nowhere, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered it. It was Emily. You're unbelievable, she said right away. Do you have any idea how much trouble you've caused? What are you talking about? I asked, already annoyed. Mom and Dad are panicking because they can't pay the rent, she snapped. Mike and I have been helping out as much as we can, but we're not made of money, you know. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You've helped out as much as you can? You mean the few $100s you threw their way after years of doing nothing? You don't get it, she said, her voice dripping with condescension. These are our parents. They did everything for us, and now they need us. You don't just abandon them. I let out a dry laugh. Oh, now you want to help them? Where was that energy when I was the one carrying everything all by myself? She didn't have an answer. Instead, she said, You are selfish. You've always been selfish. Selfish? I repeated. I spent years sacrificing for her while you and Mike sat back and did nothing. And now that I'm done, I'm the selfish one? You're unbelievable. You know what? She snapped. Fine. Do whatever you want. Just don't come crying to us when you realize what a mistake you made. Don't worry, I said. I won't. She hung up, and that was the last I heard from either of them for a while. Then it happened. I was scrolling through social media one night when I noticed a tagged photo from Mike's account. It was a picture of him, Emily, my parents, and some of their friends sitting in a restaurant. Everyone was smiling, plates full of food, drinks in hand. The caption read, Family first, red heart. No matter what. My stomach turned. My parents, who had been calling and texting me nonstop about how they couldn't pay the rent, were out enjoying an expensive meal. They looked relaxed, happy, even smug. Mike's wife, Lisa, had commented, What a beautiful family! I wish we could have been there. Emily replied. Next time! We had so much fun tonight. It was well deserved after all the stress lately. I stared at the photo for what seemed like an eternity, my blood boiling. My parents had made it sound like they were drowning, begging me for help, and yet here they were, dining out like they didn't care. At first I thought maybe they'd gone out after finally getting their finances in order. But as I scrolled down through the comments, I saw something that made my stomach turn. One of Mike's friends had written, "Thanks again for dinner. Can't believe you picked up the tab." Mike replied, "Of course, man. You know how we are." My jaw dropped. I couldn't believe it. Not only had they gone out to dinner, but Mike and Emily were spending money to treat their friends while making it sound like they were struggling to help our parents. The worst part was the realization that I'd probably financed countless nights like this over the years. How many times had they laughed over drinks while I skipped meals to send money home? I wanted to let it go. I really did. But something inside me snapped. I needed closure. I called my mom. She answered the first ring, her tone immediately cautious. "Oh, hi, sweetie. I wasn't expecting to hear from you. I saw Mike's post," I said, getting right to the point. There was a long pause. "What post?" "The one where you're all out at a restaurant having a great time," I said. "You know, while you're telling me you're having trouble paying the rent." Her voice trailed off. "Well, it's not what you think." "Really?" I asked. "Because it looks exactly like what I think it is. How long have you lied to me? How many times have you used the money I sent you for nights out or other luxuries?" "It's not like that," she said quickly. "We've been under a lot of stress lately, and we just needed a nice night out to relax. You wouldn't understand." "You're right," I said. "I don't understand how you can cry to me that you're broke and then turn around and do this. I don't understand how you can call me selfish when you've been living off my sacrifices for years. Explain that. Don't talk to me like that," she snapped. "We've done everything for you. If you want to hold a little dinner over our heads, maybe you are the selfish one." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You did everything for me? Really? Because from where I'm standing, all you've done is take. And now that I'm finally standing up for myself, you're doubling down. Maybe you should think about why no one wants to be around you," she said coldly. "You're bitter, stubborn, and impossible to get along with. No wonder you have no one in your life." That was it. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just hung up. I blocked her number. Then I blocked my dad, Mike, and Emily. Whatever ties I had were gone. They didn't care about me, they never had. And now I didn't care about them either. For the first time in my life, I felt free. After I cut them off, I didn't hear from my family for a while. It was peaceful. I didn't miss the guilt or the endless demands. For the first time, I felt like my life was my own. But of course they couldn't stay away forever. About a month after I blocked them, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find my father standing there with my mother behind him. "We need to talk," he said, trying to push past me into the house. I stepped in front of him. "You're not coming in." "What do you want?" My mother sighed dramatically. "This is ridiculous. We're your parents. Are you really going to treat us like this?" I crossed my arms. "After everything you've said and done, yes. I am." "What do you need?" My father looked annoyed, but cut to the chase. "We're behind on the mortgage. Mike and Emily can't cover it, so we thought dash." "No," I interrupted. He blinked. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean no," I said. "I'm not helping you. Go ask Mike and Emily. They're the favorites, right? Let them handle it." "We already told you, they can't," my mother said, her voice rising. "They have their own lives, their own expenses dash." "And I don't?" I shot back. "For years I've been killing myself to help you, while they did nothing. You didn't care about my life then, so don't come here pretending to care now. You're on your own." My father glared at me. You think you're teaching us a lesson? You're just proving how selfish you are. I smiled. Good. Then we're finally on the same page. I closed the door and didn't look back. They showed up again a few weeks later. This time it was just my mom. She looked tired and worn, but I didn't fall for it. Please, she said quietly. We're going to lose the house. I shook my head. I'm sorry, but I can't help you. You're not helping, she said bitterly. Call it what you want, I said. But I'm done. She stared at me for a long moment before she turned and walked away. That was the last time I saw her or any of them. Months went by, and I heard bits and pieces through mutual acquaintances. Mike and Emily were paying the bills now, but it wasn't going well. I guess it turns out it's not so easy to cover everything when you actually have to. Do I feel bad? Honestly, no. They're finally dealing with the mess they helped create, and I'm free of it all. I've moved on. I even met someone. Her name is Sarah. She's smart, kind, and the first person to ever make me feel like I'm enough just the way I am. I don't have to prove myself to her or bend over backwards to earn her respect. She just sees me for who I am. The other day she asked me if I ever thought about reconciling with my family. I told her the truth, I don't. They have made their choices and I have made mine. For once I'm happy, and I don't owe them or anyone else anything. It's funny. They used to call me a loser, but now I feel like I've won.